Go directly to the end. The end of the end. The end of the end of the end. And when I say this, I don't mean figure out what you want 1 year from now, what you want 2 years from now. Zoom out. When everything happens the way you wanted it to happen, what is it that you really want at the end? When you look at the storybook of your life and you go through all of the chapters and you reach the very last chapter, or maybe the last couple of chapters or the last section, what does that look like? Where is all this going for you? What do you want at the end? This is very important because this will give you a level of introspection into why you are doing what you're doing today. If you're confused and unclear about where you are going in your life, then you need to sit down, slow down, stop, and figure out where all this is going. Where is it that you want to be at the end? You will have an incredibly easier time to manifest when you focus on the end. I'm giving an example here of the end of your ultimate life. What does that look like at the end of that? But consider this when you're thinking about your business. What does the end look like for your business? And the end doesn't mean it's finished. It's mean the highest ideal that you have for your business or your life. I'm not talking about literally the end of your life. What does the highest ideal look like? What does your greatest self look like? The end. A lot of times we get caught up in the middle of what do I need to do this week? What do I need to do this month, this year for everything that I really want to happen? I was coaching a lady on a class, actually. Her name is Nancy, and she's a real estate agent in California. She's actually a part of my accountability group. And I had her do an exercise that I do all the time in my coaching sessions, where I had her go to the end. I had her imagine that it was 2 years from now, and we just waved the magic wand, and her life was exactly the way she wanted it to be. And she realized something that she didn't know prior to that exercise I did with her. She realized that all she really cared about was being with her husband in a nice, beautiful home. Not very big. It wasn't about having a big home. It was just a nice, comfortable home in her home country in Colombia, in front of a lake. And there was mountains that roamed across the background of where she lived. And she realized that that's what the end was for her. That was the highest ideal, being comfortable with her husband. She's been very successful in real estate, and prior to that exercise, she had assumed that it was about more money and making more millions of dollars and things of that nature. But by going to the end, she found out what it exactly was. And what's interesting about when you finally get to the end, the highest ideal of what you want, it's so easy to get pulled into the scene that you're trying to create. I had another client that just was in my class today. Yesterday we had a session that was live, a coaching session, and then today in my class she did a meditation, and she was at the end where she was a grandmother. She had never imagined that she'd be visualizing something like this before. That's so far past where she is today. But in her meditation, she saw herself as a grandmother. She saw herself very successful with her husband, who she doesn't even have now, but she saw that in the meditation. And she even heard her daughter telling her how grateful she was for all the things that she had done for her and her siblings. She was even hearing her daughter tell her how annoyed she was of her brothers on the trip around the world that she took them on when they were younger. This is what happens when you go all the way to the end. What you really want, your highest ideal. I encourage you to be bold. I encourage you to go deep. I encourage you to dream. What is it that you really, really want? Because for you to do this will really allow you to unlock the emotions required to manifest this. We already know that your subconscious mind only understands one language, and that's feeling emotion. And if you need to impress your subconscious mind using emotion, then it is absolutely necessary for you to do everything you can to cultivate emotion, knowing that going to the end will cultivate the best emotion and give you exactly what you want. This is the single greatest reason why you need to focus more on the end. And it doesn't just imply the end of what your greatest life looks like, the highest ideal. What does your relationship look like? What does the end of that look like? What is the highest ideal of your relationship look like? And go there, go to the end. Don't go to the middle point. Don't go to the halfway point. Don't concern yourself with how it would happen, the challenges involved, the problems, the things you need to overcome. Don't focus on none of that stuff. Go to the end. And the end will develop the means to get there. Make the future a present fact. And it'll be so much more easier when you do that. Now, as a tip, as I close out this video, this is a very powerful tip. When you're thinking about your desires, focus on what your desires mean to you. Interrogate yourself. Ask yourself, what does this mean to me? And then answer the question, well, this means this. And then ask yourself again, well, what does that mean to you? And then answer the question, well, that means this to me. And I want you to interrogate yourself and figure out exactly what does your desires mean to you. Because if you can determine exactly what your desires mean to you, you've simultaneously found the emotion that you can use within a deep meditative state, because meaning equals emotion. You can find the emotional meaning behind your desires and turn that emotional meaning into an emotional trigger, which you can use within a deep meditative state to impress your subconscious mind with the feeling and likeness of the future that you wish to create. And your subconscious mind being impressed by this future state as if it's a present fact today will carry you along a series of events that will lead you up to the exact realization of that ideal. Don't just take my word for it. Try it. With that being said, my name is Evan Yearwood. I'll see you tomorrow. Have an incredible day. Bye-bye.